The man who knew. Like someone telling you a secret they never planned to tell. I've been hiking alone for 6 years. Long enough to stop being afraid of the dark. Long enough to trust myself out there. That was my first mistake. It was October, Monongahela National Forest, West Virginia. I had driven up alone for a long weekend. No crowds, no marked trails, no itinerary. Just me and the kind of silence that most people never hear. The weather was perfect, mid-50s, overcast. The light that gray that makes the trees look painted. I was 4 hours deep into the forest when I found it. A gorge, not massive, maybe 30, 40 feet down, rocky floor, a thin creek moving through the shadows below. Not a death sentence if you fell, but close enough. The walls were sheer, no way down, no way around that I could see. And then, a fallen oak tree, wedged between both sides. The bark was worn smooth. Someone had crossed here before. I tested it, pressed my weight against it, took a breath, and crossed. I made it, and I felt that rush, that stupid, beautiful rush of doing something that scared you. Then I heard it. Thunk, thunk, thunk. Rhythmic, deliberate. I turned around. There was a man standing on the other side of the gorge, 10 feet from the tree. 50-something. Camo jacket, stained and old, work jeans, boots caked in mud, and in his hands, a full-sized axe. He walked up to the tree, and he started swinging. I yelled at him, "What are you doing?" He didn't look up, didn't stop, just kept swinging. The wood cracked, the tree shifted, and that's when it hit me. He watched me cross. He waited until I was on the other side, and then he started swinging. I screamed, I begged, I lost every ounce of composure I had. Finally, I screamed, "I need to get back!" He stopped, set the axe down, looked up at me for the very first time, and said, "That's not my problem." Something about the way he said it, not angry, not cruel, just like he was discussing the weather. I kept screaming, threatening, anything to get a reaction, and then he did something worse than swinging the axe. He stopped, set it down gently, and walked toward the edge of the gorge. I could see his face clearly now, sunken eyes, hollow, still. He leaned forward and said, "I know these woods a lot better than you do." Not a threat, a fact. Then he picked up the axe, turned, and disappeared into the trees like he'd never been there at all. The tree was ruined, splintered halfway through, no crossing back. I checked my phone, no signal. So I did the only thing I could. I followed the gorge downstream, hoping it would narrow. An hour passed. It only got wider. The walls got deeper. The sun started dropping. That's when panic found me. And then, I found a campsite. My first feeling was relief. My second feeling was wrong. The trees around the campsite had symbols carved deep into the bark. Not letters, not anything I recognized. Rusted tools hanging from branches, strips of cloth, knotted and tied. Bones, arranged in careful, deliberate patterns on the ground. I didn't stop to study them. I turned around and walked fast. That's when I heard the footsteps, behind me. I spun around. Nothing. I walked faster. The footsteps came back, closer. I turned again. This time, I saw a figure duck behind a tree, and then another, on my left. They were spreading out. They weren't following me. They were hurting me. One of them was carrying a pipe, and I ran. They chased, and they screamed. Not words, not threats, just screaming. Raw, human screaming that had no meaning except fear. And I don't know what scared me more, the chase or the sound of them. Then I saw it. Another fallen tree across the gorge, smaller, half-rotten, shaking in the wind. I didn't think. I crossed. I made it to the other side. I turned back. 3 of them, standing at the edge, filthy, watching. The same hollow look as the man with the axe. One of them stepped forward and touched the tree, then stopped. They just stared. Finally, one of them spoke. "Get out of here. You got lucky." Standing at the edge, filthy, watching. The same hollow look as the man with the axe. One of them stepped forward and touched the tree, then stopped. They just stared. Finally, one of them spoke. "Get out of here. You got lucky." I ran. I don't know how long. I don't know how I found the trailhead, but I did. I reported what I could. Nothing came of it. The Man Who Knew, Part 2. I feel good. I reported what happened. Gave them a description. The man, the axe, the campsite with the symbols. The ranger nodded slowly. The kind of nod that means, "We've heard this before." He didn't write anything down. That should have been enough for me. It wasn't. 3 months passed. Winter came and buried that forest under 6 feet of snow. I told myself it was over. I told myself those people, whoever they were just mountain folk. Isolated, strange, harmless. I almost believed it. Then I got a message. A stranger, online. He said he'd been hiking in Monongahela the same weekend as me. Different trail, different section. But he described the same campsite, the same symbols. And then he said something that made my stomach drop. He said there was a photograph. He'd taken it without thinking, just snapped it on his phone as he passed through. He sent it to me. It was dark, grainy, taken in a hurry, but I could make out the trees, the symbols carved into the bark, the objects hanging from the branches. And in the far corner of the frame, almost swallowed by shadow, a figure, standing completely still, facing the camera, like he knew it was being taken. I zoomed in. Dirty camo jacket, old jeans. I didn't need to see the axe to know who it was. I went back in spring. I know how that sounds, but I needed to understand. I needed to see it in daylight, when the trees weren't closing in, when the gorge was just a gorge and not a trap. I brought 2 friends this time. We stayed on the marked trail. I told them it was just a scenic route. I didn't tell them the rest. We found the oak tree, or what was left of it. Someone had finished the job. It had been cut clean through and pushed into the gorge. 30 feet below, it lay broken on the rocks, like it had been removed on purpose, like they didn't want anyone crossing there anymore. We kept moving, and then my friend Sarah stopped. She pointed at a tree just off the trail, a symbol, freshly carved, the wood still pale and raw underneath. Recent, days old, maybe less. My other friend laughed it off. "Probably kids," he said. I didn't say anything. But then Sarah said, "There's one on this tree too. And this one. And this one." They were everywhere, forming a line, going deeper into the forest. Not random, not vandalism. They were marking something. We turned around. I didn't argue, didn't hesitate. I just said, "We're leaving," and I walked fast. My friends followed without asking why. I think they felt it too, that weight in the air, that feeling of being inside something that hadn't finished yet. We were almost back at the trailhead, 5 minutes away, maybe less. That's when I heard it. Footsteps. Single set, slow, matching our pace exactly. I stopped. The footsteps stopped. I walked. They walked. My friends were talking, laughing at something, completely unaware. And I just kept moving, eyes forward. Because some part of me already knew, if I turned around, he'd be right there. And this time he wouldn't have an axe. He wouldn't need one. We reached the car, got in, drove away. Nobody said anything for a long time. That was 8 months ago. I haven't been back. But last week, I got another message. Different person this time, someone I'd never spoken to. They said they'd been hiking in Monongahela, found a campsite, symbols on the trees, and a man, older, camo jacket, standing at the edge of a gorge, just watching, not moving. They said when they made eye contact, he smiled and said, "You picked the wrong trail today." I don't know who those people are. I don't know what that forest means to them. But I know this. They were there before the trails were marked, before the maps were drawn, and they'll be there long after the last hiker leaves. He was right about one thing. He knows those woods a lot better than any of us do. And I don't think he's done yet.